All right, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Radio Northern Beaches 88.7 and 90.3 FM. Your host today is Melissa. We do the Hummingbird Talks every Wednesday at 11, and the talks aim to educate and inspire the everyday person about spirituality, health, and wellness. We have different guests on each week speaking about a range of topics designed to inspire and facilitate a direction towards wholeness, happiness, and self-awareness on this journey we call life. And Kalli, my beautiful guest this week, how's your life going at the moment?
Life is beautiful, Mel.
Oh, good.
In this moment, it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, that's what I like to hear. I think that's what many people like to hear at the moment, that there is some good in what's happening out there. So my beautiful guest this week is Kalli. Don't know how to pronounce your surname just yet. So
Fardoulis.
That's right. Just felt stumped there for a second. So Kalli Fardoulis, she is the owner of Blown Away Hair Spa. You got that right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, Blown Away Hair Spa. She is a low tox salon and pretty much the only low tox salon in Sydney right now. So We're going to be talking about, well, she's going to be sharing her story, but we're also going to be talking about low tox living. So how you can switch your chemicals into an alternative natural solution, but also why it is important to do that. So Kalli, just so that everyone can get to know you, share your story. How did you get to this point?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me on the show, Mel.
Thank you.
That's so how did I get on this journey? Well, basically, so I've been in hairdressing for over 20 years, and about 4 years ago, I'd been diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Yeah. And one of the main symptoms was that I had no period. So at that time, I was married and we wanted to have a baby, and I had no period. So I tried a whole range of natural therapies, naturopathy, a little bit of kinesiology, acupuncture. I drank herbs that probably should never have been drank before, and nothing was really working. So we ended up going down the IVF journey, and we had 3 rounds of IVF. The only problem with that was that you actually need a period to do IVF as well. And the medication they were giving me wasn't working to bring on a period. And after like 3 attempts of like getting it going, I was like, well, I don't get this. Like, why am I going to IVF if like I have no period? Like, what's going on? And the professor at the time explained to me that the injections that I was having at the time, they bypassed the brain. So he believed that that something in the mind was telling the ovaries not to work. So like stress or something like that. And I was like, okay. And that sort of didn't really sit well with me, what he said, because I was like, well, if my body is actually not wanting to conceive, or there's something going on there. So on that day I decided not to go back to IVF, and I came across a woman who introduced me to breathwork. And basically I had, over a period of 1 year, I had a whole range of breathwork sessions, and again combined with like eating, I had changed my diet a little bit, eliminated like processed foods, sugar, things like that. And basically what happened is that a whole lot of childhood trauma that hadn't been processed came up, and I was able to process that. And after a few months, my period came back. Yeah. So, that's basically how I got started into the whole low tox and holistic field. And along the way, whenever I would research things on PCOS and all that, everything kept like leading back to living a low toxin life, reducing toxins, eating cleaner. And I remember one specific conversation in the salon with a client where she had been diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor had said to her, can you like eat organic meat and organic veggies, and can you get like low toxin or organic color? And I thought to myself, like, we shouldn't have to, like, why do we wait to get to that stage to be told this information instead of like implementing this in our daily lives? Like, if this food is going to feed whatever's going on for her, well, I was like, well, yeah. So I ended up studying holistic health coaching, got my Reiki certificate, and pretty much rebranded the salon about 4 years ago. And yeah, been great.
Yeah, no, and it's a fantastic story because the simple decision of, okay, I'm here at IVF, and most women will try with IVF, but that simple message of this injection is overriding the brain so you can get pregnant. Your body went, no, hang on a second, there's something wrong there. There's something that I need to process. So we're going to get into low tox living in just a second and what that actually means. But with the processing, how did you find it? Like, was it really outrageous that these childhood traumas were like really at the root cause of what was going on or stopping you from having a baby?
Yeah, good question, actually. Good question.
Yeah.
So look, I always felt growing up that there was something like, there's a history of like abuse in the family. And I always thought that there was like something, there was just certain things about myself that just weren't like right. And I was like, well, right for me at the time. And now I can look at that younger person and go, wow, she was just like, they were like her signs for help, or you know, I can look at her now. But I always felt that something happened. I couldn't explain it or anything. I could just feel it. And so I went into breathwork, not really I didn't know what to expect. Like at the time, I didn't even go to yoga. Like I wasn't into the things that I'm into now. So I was just like, you know, I didn't know any of you guys. Like I didn't know any of the friends that I have now, and very different life. And I just met this woman, and she's like, you know, I've got this friend and he does this like breathwork thing. And I went one day and she told me her story, and I was like, oh man, like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Like, sure. So I didn't know what to expect. I went in, I was in my gym clothes and lying on the floor. He's like, just bring like your gym clothes and, you know, your towel and your water. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, is this like a workout or something? And so I said to him, look, I don't really know. Like, I just feel like there's something. I explained to him what was going on with my menstrual cycle and all that. And at the time I had certain anxieties. I couldn't drive through tunnels. I couldn't get in an aeroplane.
Wow.
So slowly what started to shift was that like I could then go in a tunnel. So each session I would come out feeling lighter and like with less anxiety. So then it was like I could go in a tunnel. I could go in an airplane. I had less fear, and I could do more, you know, I was able to do more things than that. So there was 1 or 2 sessions where, and the best way I can describe it is that you lie there and you start to feel certain things in your body. And it's sort of similar to if you're having a panic attack. If you're at home and you have a panic attack, right? It's all like irrational, or it's your body remembering or something like that.
Yeah.
And for me, I was having that experience just through breathing. So when I was doing this specific breathing technique, I'd be lying on the mat and I'd be like, oh, okay, you know, I can feel this, or now this is happening in my body. And eventually he would ask me like, what could I see? What can you see? I'm not sure if everyone has the ability to see, or whether they just feel and release. I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And there was one session where it's like my childhood, it's like whatever happened in my childhood was played in front of me in like an old slideshow.
Yeah.
The only difference is that I was the observer. So I wasn't like I could feel my body was feeling every emotion amplified: shame, anger, sadness, everything amplified. And then at the same time, I felt the blood start moving through my ovaries.
Wow.
There was one session where I was crying and he's like, you know, what's going on? And I was like, I can feel the blood like moving through my ovaries. It's like someone had kickstarted the battery or something like that. So it didn't make sense to me at the time at all. My period came back the same month that I hit rock bottom. Like I had, you know, because also this was all coming up in a session, and then I was having like therapy for whatever to process some more and all that sort of thing. So it was full on. In hindsight, like I was actually just writing this the other day, but I was like, I perceived that time in my life that my life was falling apart, but it was actually just beginning. So yeah, my period came back. So that's my experience of breath work. And it was literally like a slideshow being played in front of me. I would go home and say to my auntie or someone, I'd be like, do you remember this? And she would say, how do you know that? And I'm like, I just saw it in the session. Like, so it's like our eyes and our body take snapshots of everything. And then when you're ready, here it is. Let's process this. Let's no longer need to hold on to this. And there's actually evidence now to say that PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, it could be, you could go through something in your like teens or something like that, any stressful situation, whether it's your HSC exams, your parents getting a divorce, like abuse, anything. It could be a breakup with it, like anything. And what happens is, and you would know this being a kinesiologist, it can lodge in the body. So the whole ovaries area is all about femininity and all that. And so once I was able to release that, then everything started to flow again.
Yeah. And it's that story, like, because you've talked about breathwork. For people that don't know, me and Kalli are quite good friends, so we kind of know each other really well. But with you, Kalli, like, I didn't even know those sessions. Like you said, you did breath work, but I didn't know you were having those experiences in breath work. So thank you for sharing that, because it really just showed how much processing actually happens in these healing sessions, and really what can happen if we don't process our stuff. So like you're saying, if your period can be related to quite a stressful situation in our teens, people with PCOS, that could have been an incident that's holding them back, or why they've got trauma. So it's just opening up the light to say that, hey, we need to process our stuff so that we can move forward. So thank you for sharing that, and amazing stuff. But for those that don't know, breathwork is what Kalli was talking about, getting to experiencing it like a panic attack. It's breathwork is they get you to a stress response or a stress state in your body, so that stuff can come up so that you can deal with it. And it's kind of re-regulating your breath. So most of us probably breathe incorrectly. So breathwork helps you with your breathing process. So a little bit of insight there. But Kalli, all that way, you've been doing all this healing, all of this, you said that, part of the healing process, you had a cancer patient that was told to go low tox, or you start living low tox. So what does it actually mean to be low tox living?
Okay, so low tox for me, what it's come to mean is a range of things. So it's basically like one of the main topics that I talk about constantly is reducing toxins. So swapping out or reducing like chemicals in the home, things that you put on your body, like living more aligned with like natural products, natural things like that. The other one is food. I'm not a dietitian or anything like that. I believe in like listening to your body, and like if you eat something and you feel depleted, well then that's probably not for you or on that day. So it's actually listening and going, oh yeah, I ate that and this is how I feel, as opposed to I'm going to eat this because this is what is good for me, or because that's good for you. So it's like listening, tuning into your body. What does it need in this moment? Like, so living low tox for me, like food, reducing toxins and things like that. And also mindset. So mindset is like, just like we have the choice when we go to a buffet of what we're going to eat, we have the choice of what we're going to think. So the thoughts are constantly suggesting what we can think and all that. And so I guess becoming more aware of what we're thinking, how does that land in my body when I'm like thinking that? Is that my voice? Is that what's true for me? So it's sort of a bit of a detox all around type thing.
Yeah. So low tox living is probably quite a good holistic approach to living by the sounds of it. So it's not just focusing on the food. It's not just focusing on the chemicals or the products that we're using. There's also that mindset. So, you know, part of what you learn in holistic coaching, it's all about the mindset. So great way of showing us how you listen to your body. So if someone is in that mindset of, hey, I do want to change to low tox living, I've got all the products, you know, I'm going organic with my food, but there's just something not right. So what is the healthy mindset that you kind of teach with your clients or that you have with yourself? Like, it sounds like you question, you know, yourself at every stage, but
it does feel like it does feel like that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, wow. Sometimes it is a bit like that. I think the important thing to remember is that, like, small steps, and I remind myself of this all the time. So like, whoever's sort of embarking on this journey, I'm like, just small steps. Like, you know, you might have like a whole house full of like products that you want to swap out, and you're just looking at it going, how can I afford that? It's like one thing at a time, you know, like swap your deodorant today or finish that first. Like, you know, like, if Christmas is coming, ask people, like, this is what I want for Christmas. Like, if you're going to buy me a gift, this is what I would prefer. So little swaps like that. I think what's really important is getting clear on what you want and why you want it as well. And I'm actually working on a workshop which explains all this as well. But it's getting really clear on what you want. And then I just lost my train of thought. But
no, but even in that, getting clear of what you want and why you are doing this, because the question I need to ask is, why are toxins so bad for us? Or because your salon is completely low tox, you've done as much as you can to reduce, you know, all the harsh chemicals that are in other products. So you created a salon that is as low tox as possible, right? Really with health, holistic health. So why is it, what do toxins actually do to our body, if you can answer that question?
Yeah, sure can. So so people, like, you know, there's certain things that can affect our weight, our bodies, our hormones imbalances, all that. So you've got food. So you've got, like, you know, if you eat a lot of takeaway, a lot of fast food, the chances are you're going to put on weight, you're going to have a few issues in that. The same with like toxins and chemicals. There's one they're called endocrine disrupting chemicals. And basically, what happens is when our body is overloaded with certain toxins, whether it's stress, food, products, anything like that, our body doesn't know what to do with these endocrine disruptors. So they're called xenoestrogens. So basically the body just mimics them and makes them into more hormones. So it throws the balance out of, like, the estrogen and things like that in our body. So you could be eating all the right foods and doing all this and counting your calories, but if you're filling your body with toxins, that's like extra load that your body is having to carry as well. The best way I like to describe it is, if you want to run a marathon, there's certain things you got to do to train for that marathon. Okay, you've got to, like, eat well, you've got to rest, you've got to train each day or however many days you want to train. And it's a similar thing with your body. Whatever it is you want to achieve energetically as well, you know. I know myself, if I eat certain foods, I can feel the energy, my vibration lower. Okay, so if anyone drinks out there and has a hangover, you know how you feel the next day. Okay, so is this the way you want to be feeling? So really, like, have a look at your why, and then your underlying motivation is really important as well. Like, why do you want, like, what is your underlying motivation? So for example, if you want to lose weight, and I like to use weight as an example because many people can relate to it. And then, like, you're still eating ice cream every night. And you're like, I didn't get this. I have everything in place. I have all the food. You know, I'm sleeping all the time. I just can't stop eating ice cream. Well, maybe what you're linking losing weight to is happiness. But happiness for you is eating ice cream. Your brain's going, well, hang on a minute. You want to be happy? Well, like, I want to eat my ice cream. So having think about what is actually my underlying motivation. Is it my health? Is it to be around for my family? It's something that is going to anchor you so deeply that like you will make the decisions that are wiser for your outcome.
Yeah.
And then being okay and being curious with the days that you eat the ice cream. Being more mindful about it. Like, today I'm going to use this product. Oh, well, like be curious about it instead of being hard on yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is definitely a holistic approach. And if I was to say to you that it happens overnight, I'd be lying. I've been on this, I started this journey about 4 years ago. And there's still days where I'm like, I'll just eat that cake and I'll enjoy it. And yeah, I might feel a little bit sick afterwards, but I'm going to enjoy it in the moment. And, so.
But I love what you said. Like, ice cream means happiness for so many people.
Yeah.
And losing weight, they're trying to get to that happiness. So it's the attachment to it. I had once a friend go to me, Mel, you eat whatever you want and you don't put on weight.
You do. I tell you, that was probably me. That was probably
yeah. But it's because I don't have the attachment to food. I go for what I enjoy. That's my motivation behind what I eat. I listen to my body. And, I was saying just to my sister that the other night, I'm craving greens. I need to have more greens. So I will go for more greens. But there is times when I have that occasional not so healthy snack.
Yeah.
But it's because I listen to my body. So it's about, and I think that's what you're saying. Is that right? That it's more about the motivation behind do it and the attachment to it as to the outcome you're going to have.
Yeah, definitely. And look, there's days where I'll reach for that chocolate. Yeah. And I can tell you now that it's like, I just need to eat this chocolate. And there might be like an emotion or something that's coming up. And in that moment, for whatever reason, I may not be ready to deal with that in that moment. So it's like, just eat the chocolate. But I know like eventually I will need to face that emotion. Yeah. And I know that I will. So like last night I just needed to eat the apple pie. It was amazing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, it's really about listening to your body and making changes from there. So
yeah. Look, in a way, like what you're saying is exactly what I've been trying to articulate to most people. So, you're doing it so well. And I love the fact that you said that it's not a quick turnover. Like you're not just going to happen overnight. Like it's coming back again to the why you want to do this. So what you're saying is toxins are endocrine disruptors. So our endocrine system is related to our nervous system. It's the system that produces our hormones. So if we want certain outcomes in life, there is going to be some changes that we're going to need to make. But it might take a while to do that. It might take a month. It might take a day. It might take 3 weeks. It might take 6 months, or it might take 4 years, like what you were saying as well. So we just lesson to myself as well. We've got to be patient with these things.
And we're making new habits. Like, I can tell you that as a kid, I had a sticker on my door that said "Born to Eat." Right. So like, I remember it was this like fat face, like, and I grew up in a Greek family, so everything revolved around food. It still does. Like I could be dying on the couch and my parents would be like, "Would you like us to bring you some food?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh." Like everything revolves around food. That was, you're happy? Yeah. Are you sad? Eat. Like eat. So there were, changing neuro pathways and changing habits, and it takes time. It's like muscles at the gym. The brain takes time as well. So no,
and it kind of leads me to this question. I think it might be a really great question, because we're saying here, okay, it's going to take time to really eventuate and get used to these changes. But what kind of struggles did you find coming up against deciding to go low tox, or reduce chemicals, or start this holistic health?
Okay, so challenges at home weren't like too bad, because we're like, even though, like, okay, so growing up, mum always had like fresh salad on the table. We always had a beautiful salad. We always had veggies. There was probably just for me, like, too much food. There was like a lot of food on the table. So we always had, like, I always grew up with a good, solid foundation of wholesome food and all that. So when it came to making some switches out in that department, it was a bit difficult at first, like no bread.
That's a killer for most people.
Yeah, that's like, so bread, sugar. But I think the important thing is to focus on what you can have. And it opened up like a whole new world for me, like cooking like paleo treats and going to the markets. And now I love it. Like, I love going to the markets. Like, I love shopping at the markets instead of going into a Woolies or something like that. So that was at home. It was okay. I found it quite easy to swap out cleaning products. I was never really I always, like, on like an intuitive level, I didn't really like cleaning products. So I kept it very basic at home. So that wasn't an issue. The most challenging was the salon, because I didn't believe, I was like, I cannot get results if I'm not using whatever I'm using in the salon. And no one was doing it. So I was like, no. I just thought to change a whole color range, like for any hairdresser or business owner, it's not the easiest thing to do, to change a whole color range, because you've got like how many clients coming in the salon every day and you've got to match up their hair color. So I was like, oh my gosh. So for me, I guess the whole my health, whatever I went through with the health challenges, is what pretty much got me onto that journey. I came out of hospital and I was like, I'm not going back to that salon. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going back into that salon unless I make some changes in there. So, and then that's pretty much where the fun has been, actually. Like, I literally sat at the computer one day and I got onto Facebook and I typed in low tox makeup artist, in the search. I didn't know anyone that used low tox anything. And I didn't know, like, I had switched to a hair coloring brand that was a bit more low tox than what I was using. And I met this beauty therapist out near, in some area in Sydney. And we just connected and I said, would you like to meet up? So I did. And we became friends, and she invited me to her baby shower.
Oh, wow.
So this is
just from a Google search.
Just from a Google search, Facebook search, right? Because I was like, I'd like to have a natural makeup artist in here. This would be nice, good compliment to the salon. So I met up with her, we became friends, went to her baby shower, and I met this woman there who also had quite a few severe health challenges. And she said to me, I use this color brand. She was a hairdresser. She said, I would not use anything else. Like, with what I have as health condition, I've researched, and this is the only product that I would use. So then I contacted the rep and got in contact with her and made some more changes. I started studying Alex Stewart's Low Tox Life. I met Theodora, who got me into essential oils. From there, it just sort of started like snowballing. It was like one after the other. And I remember the clients saying to me after like 10 years, they would say to me, the salon has the nicest energy that we've ever felt in over 10 years.
Wow.
So
that's a fantastic, like, in our industry, like, that's a fantastic comment. That. So
I was like, okay. So, and then from there we started hosting workshops because I did lose quite a few clients at the time, because I actually didn't go to the salon for a month because I wasn't very well. However, we get new clients all the time. And so I started educating the clients that were there on why I was making the changes and all that. So there has definitely been a few challenges along the way, but I would say that the challenge is always in here. Okay. And it's like, there's been products that I use along the way where my friends are like, do you believe that if you no longer have that product in there, that your business will still thrive? And I'm like, yes. So I guess there's still the same decisions and all that as other business owners would make. But for me, it's like staying in alignment as much as I can with my vision and my mission, and going from there. So
yeah. So the biggest challenge for you was changing chemical products in a salon. So at a business, as a business level, but personally, it was just. And I think now what we're discovering is that there's just so many options to tox here in Sydney and in Australia. So, like, amazing. This is why I love talking to you, Kalli, because just.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Well, you know what? It's just like I just had this thought, because my dad's always been in business. He had takeaway shops his whole life, and it's like him having this takeaway shop with hot chips and hamburgers, and then one day he turns up and he goes, "Everyone, we've got poke bowls now. We are now serving poke bowls." Like, his clients would have gone, "What the hell? And why are you doing this?" Like, so that was pretty much. But. The poke bowl tastes just as good as the hamburger.
Yeah.
So that's basically what's going on. And look, all the products that we use in the salon, we get amazing results. I would actually say that the colors last longer than any of the products that I've ever used, which is great for the client, not so great for us because we don't see them as often. But the products are amazing. And the oils, you would know because you're an oils user.
Yeah.
The oils not only create a therapeutic benefit in the salon, but people's hair looks amazing and shiny, and their scalps are much better. So, yeah.
Well, it seems as that we use more natural products. It's more in alignment with our own body's natural functioning system. Yeah. So no doubt you're going to have longer lasting results. You're going to see people's health and mind, just improve.
Yeah, definitely.
If I can say, So what I want to ask you is, and I'll ask it in just a second. So guys, you're listening to Radio Northern Beaches 88.7 and 90.3 FM. These are the Hummingbird Talks, where I have different guests each week talking about spirituality, health and wellness. I've had the beautiful Kalli Fardoulis on with me. She is the owner of Blown Away Hair Spa, Low Tox Salon. She's pretty much the only salon that I know of that is low tox. So we've been talking about, in the first half an hour, we've been talking about, her story, how she came about to low tox living, all of the challenges that she's faced. But we're going to get into the next segment, because we talked about why, people should go to low tox, and that's about, chemicals being, endocrine disruptors called estrogen. What are they called again?
You got the endocrine disruptors, and they're called xenoestrogen. So
yeah,
I like this story because it's a Greek word. Yeah. So xeno can't help myself sometimes now.
You gotta do it.
I gotta do it. My favorite part of the workshop. I'm like, xeno. Yeah, xeno means stranger in Greek. So it's a strange estrogen, and our body doesn't recognize it. So yeah.
Well, it's a great way to remember it, exonoestrogens, because everyone knows about estrogens, being part of the hormone system, but xenoestrogens is the stranger part, the Greek word. Yeah. So love it. The question I wanted to ask is, how do we know which chemicals create those exonoestrogens?
How do we know what chemicals? Okay,
so you've swapped, your really harsh hair color or products in the salon to really low tox. So did you know what was in those chemicals to say, hey, they're hormone disruptors?
Yeah, so for everyone it's different. There's some women who are just allergic to certain ingredients, right? And if they know what they're specifically allergic to, the color range that we use, they're very transparent with, like, they will show us what's in each color tube. And we have all that. We can research further. They actually are very close with the people that produce the colors over in Denmark, and it's all great. So we can find out exactly, we can do patch tests and a whole range of things. The main ingredient in color ranges, and just to clarify, there's the reason we're low toxin and holistic, we have two main brands in the salon. So one of them is Naturalique, and that one is low toxin. So for example, it's got no ammonia, it's ammonia free. They've replaced it with like PPD. Sorry, not PPD. Cancel that. They've replaced it with a natural MEA, which is a more biodegradable product, and more natural. Doesn't have the fumes or anything like that. So women with like allergies and that, it's really great for their scalp. There's also an ingredient called PPD, which is quite common and can, if you look on like the Chemical Maze app, you can tell you like what side effects and all that it has. So this one, there's 2 ranges within Naturalique, and one of them has like only 0.02%, whereas most color ranges have like 2% or more. So it's quite reduced. And they're like a couple of the main ones. And the Naturalique also have another range, which has like no ammonia, no PPD, and there's a bit of a difference in the color. So one of them might be a very blanket coverage with gray hair. So when you get a bit of regrowth, there's like a real definite line in your regrowth, whereas the one that doesn't have PPD, it's going to grow out a bit more. It still covers, we call it translucent, but it just grows out more naturally. So it still covers the gray. It's just not as blanket coverage. So when a client comes in, especially a new client, we give them the option. We say, this is what we have. It depends. Some people are like right in on the low tox journey. They want like the most natural. And then others are like, no, that's fine. You know, we just got a new range in. It's a plant powder.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't have any toxins. You could eat it and nothing would happen to you.
Really?
It is amazing. It covers up to 100% gray hair. It's suitable for most people. There's only certain colors you can have with it. It's incredible though. It's made from plant, like ground plant. So if you're an essential oils user, oils liquid form. So they cold press the oil, or they put it through distillation, right, into the bottle. This plant is ground into like a powder. So for example, you've got amla or you've got cassia. Okay, it comes in a powder form. So the actual color is in like a bag, like you would buy your matcha powder or something that you would put in your cereal, like in your breakfast in the morning. And it's activated with water. So the way it works on the scalp, so it looks like a clay. So we have so much fun. Ginger and I love it. We could just play with it all day. We apply it. It looks like mud. So it looks like a mask that you would have on your face. It covers up to 100% gray. It thickens the hair. It's amazing. So now we have like a completely, if you had said to me 5 years ago that there would be a product on the market that did not have any toxin, I would have just laughed and gone, okay. Because the traditional way of coloring is that the whatever's in the product, it swells the cuticle, it opens the cuticle, the color penetrates in, it changes the color and all this. So this one, it actually like stains the hair. So it doesn't actually affect the hair itself.
Okay.
So it just stains the hair.
Yeah, so our natural body, like our natural hair, it just stays in its normal state.
Yep. If anything, it stains the hair and it adds like an extra layer of coating around the hair, which as the hair grows out feels thicker and a bit stronger and prevents it from breakage and all that. And then the other benefit is that the amla, for example, has a whole lot of vitamin C in it. So when we've slapped it on your scalp, and we slap it on your scalp, that's why I'm saying it like that, your scalp is actually infusing with vitamin C. So whatever goes on our skin eventually goes into our body. So you're getting the benefits of the plants. And then on top of that, because we love oils, we throw our oils into the mix too, right? So,
like amazing stuff, because not people, like we don't think of that. Like most chemical products, we don't realize that our skin is so absorbent and we're actually absorbing them into our skin. So even just simply coloring your hair with normal products, you're absorbing those chemicals. And what you're saying, that process of hair dye, is that their hair strands actually have to open to be absorbed. But with a natural product, it's actually not damaging the hair, it's enhancing it. Having vitamin C being absorbed through our hair.
It's working with the hair. It's enhancing the natural hair's state already. That's all it's doing.
And we know how vitamin C is so important for us, and our body functions. So Absolutely amazing. Kalli, you've mentioned essential oils, and I'm actually quite curious because I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, I think I need to book in that hair treatment or get that hair color. But essential oils, like what sort of essential oils are you using with these products? You know, what actually helps enhance our system?
Okay, so throughout the salon, I diffuse different oils daily. I'll do a bit of a muscle test and I'll check in with what is needed for the day. But usually in the hair, our most used oils are like lavender, tea tree, geranium. Rosemary is great for hair growth, for split ends. Lavender is great for like nourishment and beautiful shine. Tea tree is fantastic. Tea tree and grapefruit is great for like dry, dandruffy scalp. The only thing I would say is if you're going to be using grapefruit in your hair, just make sure you don't go out into the sun straight after, because it could affect the sun can affect that. But we use Epsom salts. It depends. So we sort of cater each client like to their own what their hair and scalp need. So when someone comes in, Georgia and I are quite like educated in the oils. So when someone comes in, we will have a look at their scalp, ask them what's going on, maybe a little bit emotionally as well, just to gauge what's going on in their life, and then go from there. So the treatment's a beautiful process. They lie at the basin, they have a hot towel, they have an eye mask. If they're in there on their own, we put like a meditation on. So we sort of, it's a whole experience. The hair looking nice at the end is just, you know,
it's that external feeling, right?
Yeah. You know what? Like, have you ever just woken up and you're like, I just hate like my hair. I just want to look at my hair today.
Yeah.
But it was the same. It was the same as yesterday, right? It's the same as yesterday. It's the same as when you went to bed. So there's something going on internally that's making you feel this way externally. So when you come in and we basically get your body into a really relaxed state as possible with the treatment, so that you're just like in awe of yourself when you get back up again. And that's our natural state. Our natural state is not to be like, oh my gosh, my hair, look at the bags under my eyes, like what's going on? So yeah, you could have the most beautiful hairstyle and you still feel like crap. You know, everyone could be like, I love your hair, and you're like, what are you talking about? So I do believe that it starts from within. And that the outer is just a bit of the reflection of that too. So that's what that's the, when clients come in, the environment in the salon is that it's very calming. It's not like your most salons where you go in and like music's pumping, and it's a lot calmer. Even when there is a few people in there, we still tend to have, it still tends to be quite a healing and soothing space for everyone.
Yeah. And by the sounds of it, that's exactly what's happening. Like, you know, without knowledge of the essential oils, if you're asking them what's happening emotionally, we know that these oils can actually create a different emotional state, or really address the emotional issues that most people are going through. But even, you know, our hair is I don't know how to say it, is the most prominent expression of how we are feeling. So, you know, when our hair's good, we feel good. So all this from Low Tox Living.
It does. Your hair does feel good when you feel good, but you made the choice to come in. So it started within. You made the choice to go like, I actually want to feel a certain way. I want to feel good. And you made the choice to come in. So it actually started at home when you decided to come in. It's like going to the gym, right? You can sit at home and go like, I want to feel good, I want to be healthy. Sitting on the couch isn't going to work. So you've actually, part of that is to go, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go to yoga. So yes, the hair is the result of you coming in. Getting off that couch and coming in. So
yeah, perfect. And let's just have a chat about that, because you know, that's what most people are struggling with, if I can say, you know, and you can use this answer in the way of, you know, how you'd coach someone. Most of the struggle with people today is that it is that motivation. It is that first step to make that change, or wanting to make that change, because all through our talk, you've spoken about how you listen to your body and how you act on it and move forward. But most people are sitting at home right now going, oh, you know, my hair's just a mess. You know, I feel like shit. Sorry to use that word, but, you know, I feel like shit at the moment. There's nothing that I can do. But how do people make that decision, or what is it that's stopping them from making the decision to go, okay, yeah, I know Kalli's out there, or I know that there's other practitioners out there. I need to make a change, but it's not motivated. Like, how would you motivate someone, or how would you talk to someone that goes, hey, I don't know what to do?
So I find that a lot of people have never actually really been asked, and no one's ever really held space for them to actually say what it is they want, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're in a society where we're constantly, from kids, told what we want, need, and feel. Like, if you feel a certain way, or you don't feel like that, or if there's things that you want, like everyone's story is different, right? Whatever programming we have as well. And one of the things that, when it comes to habit change, one of the things is what we link pleasure to.
Yeah.
So if you're like, for 30 years, if you've been sleeping in, and then you want to like go to the gym, let's just say you want to have a 6-pack, right? But like, you work all day, and then you come home and you got to cook and you got to clean them. So you've linked pleasure to sleeping in. Whereas now you want to make this change. You want to be like, no, I actually want to be healthier. I want to be fitter. I want to feel stronger. I want to feel more energized. So I actually have like a 3-month program, because it takes about 3 months to change a habit as well.
Yeah.
So we go through this, and it's a whole model where you start to visualize it, feel it, sense. You go through the whole sense of how you want to feel. So you're already programming the mind to think that it's like, so let's say, for example, you want to go to yoga.
Yes.
Never go to yoga. Just want to go to yoga. So one example is actually visualizing in a meditation or something, that you get up, you put your clothes on. How does it feel? Tell me what it's like when you get there, when you practice your yoga. How do you feel when you come out? So you go through like a whole, and this is just one small part of coaching. So then you're already starting to link the brain with that, instead of the feeling of sleeping in. Okay, so it starts in the mind. There's one lady who's got like a 3-second rule. You have like a 3-second rule. You go like 3 seconds. When you get up in the morning, you've got 3 seconds to think about it. But I think what it comes down to mostly is that no one's actually ever, like, a lot of people don't dare to actually say, this is what I want. This is what I want. And what's it going to take to get that as well, right? So there's if I sit with someone, I go through a series of questions. And I think that the important thing to remember is that we think that if we get something, then we're going to be happy. So if I like lose 10 kilos, then I'm going to be happy. And I can tell you from experience that I lost, like, I think at one stage I weighed like 55 kilos, where like, I've never weighed 55 kilos in my life. And I looked in the mirror, and I still saw the person that I saw before.
Yep.
I didn't even see the 20 kilos that had, right? So it starts in the mind. So, in short, there's a huge not huge, but there's a process around it.
But Kalli, even like I'm really loving this talk, because this is a side of you that I really haven't heard before, if I can say. And just a simple fact that most people, so what you're saying is, to get people motivated, it's about what you link into pleasure. So
a lot of it is what we link to pleasure.
Yeah. So, that ice cream is linking to pleasure.
Yeah.
Sleeping in is linking to pleasure. But if we say and get into the feeling, if we get into the momentum of it, and start visualizing, or start, having tangible experiences with going to yoga, or having more organic food, that's going to come into that pleasure state.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, even organic food, this is I get asked all the time, why do you eat organic food? And at first it was because I read that with PCOS, eat organic food. So I did. And then I still wasn't convinced. And I spoke about this the other day. I tasted organic pumpkin and I loved it. Yeah. So yes, you can tell me to eat organic food, but if I don't really, if it's not really resonating with me, or I'm not going to just to eat it because I've been told to eat it, that doesn't feel right with me too. So I went and I tasted it and I loved it. Like, I loved how it tasted. And from there, like, I love eating organic food now. And the bonus is that it's like helping my body as well. The other thing is with pleasure, there's nothing wrong with pleasure, but you can eat your ice cream, which is going to give you a quick 5-minute pleasure. Like, in that instance, how are you going to feel after your ice cream? So you start to program the mind and be like, okay, I could eat that ice cream now, and then how am I going to feel after the ice cream? So you're nearly like in advance going, well, if I go to the gym, I link feeling good after the gym, like the endorphins and all that. So I can now link to that. Or I can eat this ice cream and I may feel like really sluggish. So then you have a choice. You go, well, how do I want to feel in this moment?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I'm sitting here and going,
yeah.
Like, it's just like, you're right on point. Like, if I can say, for moving forward, that's the stuff that you lead with, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing, because it is about the after feeling. And I want to touch on the fact that you said, hey, I lost my weight, but I still wasn't happy. I was still seeing the same person at the other weight, you know, kind of thing.
Definitely.
And that's what people, and it's something that I'm coming to realize as well. As much as we're putting so much pressure on this external stuff to make us happy, how long is it making us happy for? Once we get there, okay, great, you're there at your 55 kilos. What next, kind of thing? Okay, well, life really hasn't changed. So, you know, low tox living or holistic approach sounds like
it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Great. It's a lifestyle. And it's not tackling just the external. It's tackling the internal. So, like what your salon is doing, it's working on the inside out, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And look, another thing that comes into play with this is how we were raised as kids.
Yeah.
So when I ask a client to have a one-on-one session with me for 1 hour, and sometimes you hear back, oh, I couldn't, like 1 hour. I'm like, 1 hour in 24 days times 7 in a week, like 1 hour, right? So there's a lot of if you've never been role modeled self-care or anything like that, it's very new to you. You're like, wow, okay. But when you start to realize and identify where this is coming from, then you start to build awareness around that to start making choices for what's more aligned with you and your journey. So,
perfect. Kalli, we've probably got a couple of minutes left, and if I can say, and that time has gone by so fast, like, you know, it's just, like I said, everything that you said has just been so amazing, and, you know, people do need to hear about this stuff. Like what you said, you know, we've been raised in a way, you know, some of us have been raised in a way that we don't know about self-care, we don't know about holistic health, we don't realize, or we don't know that we have to tackle the inside first before the external really does appear. My question to you is, being that you've been on this journey for 4 years, or almost 4 years, or, you know, for that time period, how have you seen your life change? Because here we are, we're talking about, hey, go low tox. Low tox is the, you know, healthy, you know, holistic approach, low tox living. But how has your life changed from when you first woke up, got back to the salon, and went, nah, can't be here, things need to change, to now, to today?
Well, it's changed in many ways.
Yeah.
The people, obviously the friends that I've made, make along the way, like yourself, for example. So I also work very closely. I have a life coach, and she's a brain trainer. So it's very much like understanding our emotions and what they're trying to tell us and that. So, so I guess for me, relating between people has changed. So how I relate with my family or friends, or just in general, how I relate to people, that's definitely changed. I can feel like there's definitely like a shift from more of a victim mentality to owning it. And I wouldn't say that I'm completely like out of the victim. I'm sure sometimes I might slip back into that.
Yeah.
But I'm a lot more aware of what's going on, and I can sort of make like wiser choices and things like that as well. Or my health has definitely improved. My period has come every month for the last 4 years now, which is amazing. And for some reason, if it doesn't, like if there's something going on, I have the tools and the ability to check in and say, okay, what's going on for me? Do I need, have I put out too much? Do I need some rest? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay to say to certain people, actually, no, I can't see you tonight. I'm not like perfect at it, but I'm able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I actually just need some time to myself tonight, or having a little bit more boundaries. So this journey is, you've got to be a bit careful sometimes, because you can sort of, I tend to in the past I've been like really hard on myself sometimes, like, oh my gosh, I just did that or said that, because I'm super aware of like my patterns and habits and all that sort of thing. And the best way I describe it, it's like when you're embarking on like a whole foods journey, there's a day where you might eat a chocolate, like there's a day that I might have a moment emotionally, and that's okay. Like everyone has them. So probably the way that I relate with people as well is one of the biggest.
How are you feeling the relationships? Like, if that's the biggest thing that you've noticed, what is it about those things that you've noticed, you know, in relating to people? Is it more genuine? Is it more, you know?
It's more genuine. It's less reactive.
Yeah.
So it's less reactive. When we've got things going on internally, whatever the story is that's been playing or whatever's been going on for you internally, sometimes when people say things to you, you can interpret it in a different way.
Yeah.
This is the life story between my family and I, like, right? So how I've chosen to take things on board from what they have said is completely different to like what they meant. So one question I love to ask people now, if I feel offended, if I feel a biofeedback in my body is like, oh, like what was that? I will ask that person, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that? And a lot of the times it's totally not what I actually have made it out to mean in my mind. And the best example of this I can give you is that when I first started the business, like when I was 22, my dad made this comment about me, like, oh, right. And for 10 years, the story is that he didn't, like, I couldn't do it. He was like, no, what are you doing? You're so young and you're blah, blah, blah. And I made it mean all this stuff in my head, right? And 10 years later, I sat with him. And I think it was even in the same, like, I think he said it to me out the front of the family home. And then 10 years later, we're both sitting there on the step again.
Yeah.
And I said, what did you mean by that? Like 10 years later. And he said to me, all I meant was like, you were young, and because I'd been in business, like I just wanted you to live. Like I just wanted you to like live your life. And I took it on board as like, you're not capable of having a business and you're not right. And I just went with that for like I ran with that for like 10 years. And he was like, no, he goes like, you know, he goes, you've proved me wrong. Like he goes, you're doing really well. And like, I just was like, you're young and I didn't want you to have that in your life, like from a young age, because of what I went through. Right. And that was it. And I was like, wow, like for 10 years. And like, I just felt my body calm and relax. So now whenever my parents say something, it might not be automatic. I might just not say anything for a little while. And then I'll speak to them again. I'll be like, Carl, can I like have a chat with you about what you said, you know, just to clarify. And I'm like, okay, right. And that highlights for me what's going on internally, what I might need to explore. And that also strengthens our relationship a little bit as well. So
yeah, perfect. So that simple question, What do you mean by
What
that?
do you mean by that?
That just flips it around. It does. It flips the conversation in your head, I should say, around so that you can get really more to the authentic, genuine meaning of what you're hearing.
Have you ever said something to someone and you're like, and they say to you like, what? And then you're like, no, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I just said this. So like,
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. And the whole approach, like the more we we're in a high, like our energy levels. So imagine you're having that conversation with a hangover.
I
Like
don't know how we used to do it.
Right? Yeah. So you've got your programming going on, whatever stories you've got going on in your head. Then you've got the hangover feeling, or the I can't be bothered with life type feeling going on. So your reaction is going to be very different to when you're like centered and well fed, well nourished, well hydrated, all of that as well.
Yeah.
So it is a holistic approach.
Yeah, love it. Just in relation, because we brought it up a couple of times, just the hangover thing. Most of the times I'm choosing not to have, just a simple glass of wine because I know exactly what it's going to do to me the next day. Yeah. And that's a feeling that I don't want to have, right? To give you an example, like when I was living in Kirribilli, there was one Sunday morning where I rode my bike over the bridge and into Darling Harbour, and I'm here going, hey, life is great. I'm on my bike, the sun is shining, that sort of thing. And then I could just see in all the restaurants in Darling Harbour, because it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, there were so many people in the restaurants going, I've got the worst hangover.
And you're like, loving life right now. My pushback.
Yeah, exactly. But it just makes you think, when you see it from that perspective, is that they're there with their loved ones, they're there with their partners, they're there with their family, but are they really enjoying themselves because they're going, I've got a hangover? Yeah. Is it really quality time? So
exactly. Yeah. So and I love connection. Like I love chatting with people and insights and all that sort of thing. So
yeah. Perfect. Look, Kalli, I'm going to have you on again because we need to talk more about PCOS and essential oils, because I think that's an issue that most women are facing. And it can also relate to men. It won't be obviously PCOS, but, whatever male issues they might be going through, they might get some understanding from it as well. So, Kalli, you have been a dream. Thank you so much for being on with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. I know I did. No worries. So guys, you've been listening to Radio Northern Beaches 88.7 and 90.3 FM. Next week, I believe, is my 20th show. So there's going to be
already. Wow.
Yes, excited. So I've got 2 special guests on with me for my 20th show. And we're going to be talking about speaking your truth or finding your voice. So guys,
juicy
stuff.
Juicy.
So
I like this topic.
Yeah, I like it too. And it just came out of nowhere.
Or did it? No.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Did it really come out of nowhere? But guys, you've been listening to Melissa from the Hummingbird Talks. We happen every Wednesday at 11 a.m. So guys, we will see you 11 a.m. or you'll hear us 11 a.m. next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Thanks.